A sealed stone coffin. A shaft in the sand. And inside it, a body that seemed to catch the light after more than 4,000 years. In early 2023, Egyptian archaeologists announced a discovery from Saqqara that traveled around the world in a single phrase, the oldest gold-covered mummy yet reported from Egypt. But the real story is more precise, and much more interesting, than the headline. The place matters first. This was not a random desert find. The burial came from Saqqara, the vast necropolis south of modern Cairo, in an area known as Jisr al-Mudir, west of the Step Pyramid of Djoser. Saqqara was connected to Memphis, Egypt's ancient capital, and UNESCO describes the wider Memphis necropolis as one of the great pyramid fields of the Old Kingdom. The Egyptian mission associated with Zahi Hawass reported several tombs and burials from this area. Among them was a man named Hekashepes. Reports described him as found in a limestone or stone sarcophagus, with the mummy covered in gold leaf. The date most often given is about 4,300 years ago, placing the burial in the Old Kingdom, roughly the 5th to 6th dynasty horizon. That wording is important, gold leaf, not metal armor. The body was not wrapped in unknown sheets, and the find is not evidence of lost machinery or a rewritten civilization. Gold leaf can be thin, fragile, and symbolic. In Egyptian religious art, gold was associated with divine radiance, durability, and the flesh of gods. On a burial, it could signal status and hopes for transformation after death. The phrase oldest gold-covered mummy needs caution. Journalism often compresses a technical claim into a dramatic label. A safer version is this: the mission reported one of the oldest, and possibly the oldest known, complete mummy covered with gold leaf from Egypt. The discovery still matters without turning it into a miracle. It pushes us to ask who received such treatment, and what gold meant at this early moment. The Old Kingdom is famous for pyramids, but its elite cemeteries were also laboratories of memory. Officials, priests, and administrators built tombs close to royal monuments because proximity mattered. A burial near Djoser's complex could participate in a landscape already charged with royal power, ancestral prestige, and ritual traffic. Many Saqqara tombs do not reveal themselves as grand entrances. They begin as shafts, cut down through limestone and sand. For archaeologists, that means the discovery is physical before it is glamorous, measuring, stabilizing, lowering lights, recording layers, and resisting the temptation to pull meaning out too quickly. Then comes the chamber. A stone sarcophagus is a powerful threshold. It tells us someone had the resources to commission heavy material, labor, and a protected resting place. When gold leaf appears on the mummy inside, the object is no longer only a body. It becomes a carefully staged identity, meant to survive in ritual space. Hekashepes should not be called a king. The available reports identify him by name, but they do not make him a pharaoh. That distinction keeps the story honest. The shock is not that a hidden ruler appeared. It is that elite funerary treatment could be so elaborate, so early, and so close to the monumental world of Saqqara. The preservation question is equally important. Mummification did not appear fully formed. It developed over centuries through experiments with drying, linen, resins, wrappings, body treatment, and tomb environment. A gold-covered mummy from this period gives scholars another point on that long timeline of technique and belief. Gold is visually spectacular, but its power in ancient Egypt was not only economic. It did not tarnish like many other materials. It reflected sunlight. It suggested permanence, solar force, and divine presence. In a burial, a thin layer could do heavy symbolic work, making the deceased shine with an identity fit for the afterlife. This is where viral archaeology often goes wrong. The more fragile the evidence, the more aggressive the headline becomes. A careful discovery becomes a mummy plated in mysterious metal. A named man becomes a lost king. A tomb near a pyramid becomes proof of a secret civilization. Those versions are easier to click, but they erase the actual archaeology. The real questions are better. Why was this person buried here? Who paid for the stone coffin and gold leaf? Was the treatment typical for a narrow elite, or exceptional even among elites? How did the workshop apply such delicate material to linen and resin? What can the surrounding tombs tell us about social networks at Saqqara? Reuters and Associated Press coverage from January 26, 2023, reported the announcement, the Saqqara location, and the broader cluster of tomb discoveries. Smithsonian and Live Science summarized the mummy as Hekasheeps, about 4,300 years old, covered with gold leaf. Museum and heritage sources help anchor the background, Saqqara, Memphis, Djoser, and the religious meaning of gold. Jisr al-Mutar also changes the way the scene feels. This is a massive early stone enclosure in the Saqqara landscape, older than many later monuments nearby. To work around it is to work inside a layered cemetery, where one dynasty's memory could sit beside another's construction. The mummy of Hekasheeps is therefore not an isolated golden object. It belongs to a place where architecture, burial, and power accumulated over generations. A good excavation story is slow because every context can disappear. The position of a coffin, the blocking stones, the sediment inside a shaft, and the relationship between nearby tombs all help convert an object into evidence. Once a mummy is lifted out and photographed, the viral image can travel alone. The archaeologist's job is to keep it attached to its setting. The word complete also deserves attention. A complete mummy does not simply mean a dramatic body shot. It means a more coherent package of data, wrapping, surface treatment, burial container, placement, and sometimes the possibility of biological study. A broken fragment of gold leaf can show a practice existed. A complete burial can show how that practice was staged around a person. There is an ethical line here as well. Human remains are not props. A respectful archaeological film can show the material reality of death without turning a deceased person into a jump scare. That is why the visual approach stays with stone, linen, gold, hands, tools, and controlled light. The goal is fascination with care, not spectacle at the expense of a human body. So what are we actually seeing when we imagine the moment of discovery? Not a sci-fi artifact. Not a golden robot. We are seeing a burial system. Sand above, shaft below, stone around, linen close to the body, resin darkened by time, and gold leaf catching a beam of light like a message from a world that believed death could be transformed. That is why the find is haunting. Hekasheeps was not preserved for us. He was prepared for an Egyptian future of ritual, memory, and divine protection. 4,300 years later, the body became a headline, but the ancient intention was slower and quieter, to hold identity together across time. The gold-covered mummy from Saqqara does not need exaggeration. Its verified facts are strong enough: a named Old Kingdom individual, a stone sarcophagus, gold leaf, a major necropolis, and a date deep in Egypt's Pyramid Age. The mystery is not whether ancient people had impossible technology. The mystery is how much care, wealth, and belief they invested in a single human passage into eternity. And that is the point worth carrying forward. Sometimes the real discovery is not stranger than fiction. It is more disciplined, more human, and harder to forget.